Hey guys, welcome back to Ultimate S&S. I hope you've been having a great week. So, something that we put out yesterday was a little parody video for preppers. It seemed like it's going pretty good. So we're going to try to continue on with that fashion, not right now in this video, but we're going to try to have something for Thanksgiving and something for Christmas. So I got to come up with some ideas. I got a few starter ideas on that, but I want to make it fun to learn about prepping, but we're going to keep it light on some stuff. But and apparently, I think I said that they had salmonella in that meat. It was actually listeria, guys. And no, that's not Listerine, it's listeria. But those are serious posts that were put up there in that video because I want to bring you some humor on occasion, but I also want to make sure there's some serious material in there. And when it comes down to roadkill and stuff like that, I don't typically mess around with it unless I'm the one who killed it. So that's what you need to understand about that. So that doesn't mean that you need to jump in your 4x4s and go chasing deer across the field, fellas. That's illegal. You can't do that. You have to wait for them to cross the street and then punch it down. Okay, that's how you properly get your deer when it ain't deer season. But don't do that either. Those are jokes, man. But anyway, those are some different little things that we're going to talk about a little bit. But if you're paying attention to the midterms and red wave my butt. We're going to have red wave. That's all I've heard for the last few months. And I'm like, yeah, well, we'll see. And the reason I said we'll see and I was skeptical about it is because of the redistricting that was going into the voting areas. Now, for those who don't know what that is, that's where you have an area that's like, okay, so this area typically votes Democrat. This area typically votes Republican. And then they have what they call that purple zone, which is where they kind of mesh together. So what the Democrats decided to do is they want to make sure that they were holding on to these seats, but also want to affect the value of this seat. So some of the things that they did is they redistrict, which is where they come out and they cut a big swath out to create more of a better zone to hold this seat, and then to maybe throw some other stuff into this seat to swing that vote a little bit. This is what they've been doing the last couple of years. You need to be aware of that. They don't like to talk about that on the news too much, but that's what's happening. And you can find all this stuff at whitehouse.gov, guys. But also something you need to be aware of is when you're tracking people up across the border and stuff like that, and you're dumping them into predominantly red voting states, and they're giving them the right to vote. Think about this. How many of you have ever went flying, on a plane? Commercial airline. Okay, so you got to go through all the garbage with the checkpoint, show your ID, stand in the stupid little thing that spins around. So you stand there, it's spinning around. And you're like, okay, did you come back? And you finally get through this checkpoint. Come across border illegally, you don't even have to do that. All you need is your folder with your directions of what to do. And when they walk up, they just hand the folder to somebody and they just send them right on through. And they're on the same airline as you. So, hey, that could just be some normal person wanting a better life for their children. Hey, that's okay. Yeah, well, you should still have to go through the same process. It could be a terrorist who decided, you know what, I'm going to come up here and pretend to be someone who's wanting to come up here, and then you just let a terrorist on the plane. Because they're not vetting these people that are coming across the border illegally. But that's our government. They want you to believe so indoctrinated that you have to have those security measures to keep the plane safe, but then they take people who are unvetted, who's not even an American citizen, and let them on the same plane as you and your children. Do you see the problem there? They say one thing, they hold you to a standard, but when it suits them, the standard no longer exists. When did this start happening? I can tell you when it started happening. It started happening shortly after 9/11. And whenever we start to talk about the Patriot Act and things like that, understand this. Republicans were behind that. So it ain't just Democrats that are screwing up the country, guys. That's why it's important you look at who's voting. I see McConnell's going to be getting back in office again. Everyone keeps talking about it. Yeah, we're going to make sure we vote McConnell in. We're going to make sure we get McConnell in. Was it his time to come up for election this time? I don't believe it was. That was last midterm thing. But he's still in office. McConnell's one of the worst of the worst of the worst. He's right up there with Pelosi and Schumer. But he's a Republican. It's time to vote him out. It's time to get people like that out of office, guys. You need to understand that. It's just really, to me, it's, I won't say depressing. It's surprising more than anything. How many people think that because they're going to vote Republican? All right, I got a few little things here to show you. So we have a Republican and a Democrat. Ah, crap. All right, we're just going to grab a couple different colors here. So let's say that we have your Democrat right here, and you have Republican right here. But this one over here is claiming to be a Republican too. All right. And they're going, well, no, but this Republican's been in office for the last 40 years. Okay. So that's what you want to look at right now. You want to say, okay, what's this Republican done for me? This Democrat's come over from another state. What's he done for that state? Like Chicago. You know, you remember when they were running for Obama up there in office? Comes out of one of the worst voting areas, the worst crime and all that. And they talk about all the great work he's done. He didn't do nothing. So that shouldn't even be the option. Not because Democrat, just because they ain't worth crap. So you're looking at this person here, you know, and they're going, okay, well, you know, this one's been in office for 40 years. What's happening? The inflation's going up. Okay, gas prices are going up. The job market's down. You know, unemployment's on a big rise. You know, and okay, so undoubtedly he's not doing his job. But over here we have this other candidate. You know, maybe there'll be a better option. Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're talking about. See if they've ever been in a type of office. These people usually don't just come up out of the middle of nowhere. They typically have been in some kind of chamber of commerce or something like that. So you can actually look and see what kind of voting they do. If they're actually sticking to a constitutional vote, it's time to throw that one out and bring this one in. And the same thing for Democrats, guys. Just because the Democrat says they're Democrat doesn't mean they're Democrat. I see comments a lot of times on here like, well, not all Democrats are socialists. I understand that. I understand it. There's the hardcore old school Dixiecrat, as they used to call them. And for those who don't know what a Dixiecrat was back in the day, a Dixiecrat was someone down in the southern states, and they come in and say, okay, here's what's going to happen. We'll put caps on rent. You ain't charging someone more to rent a house than what they can buy one for. But that's what's happening today. They're told by the bank, nope, sorry, you can't buy this house. Why? Your credit's bad. So then they go, okay, well, I'm going to have to rent. So they'll go, okay, well, we're going to rent you this house over here, and it's going to be $400 more a month than what it costs to buy a home. But they can make that payment every single day, but they don't think they can make this one. And that's what happens when you get socialists in there, guys. That's what's happened when you have, you know, these same butt wipes that are in office. Look at it this way. In Indiana, well, not just Indiana, all over the country, okay, 2008, there was a housing market. The bubble burst. We had major issues with that. What did we do about it? We voted the same people back in office that caused it. Before that, you know, let's go back into the 90s, the 80s, when we were having issues. Those same people were in office that was in office in 2009. Why didn't we remove them in office when they collapsed the freaking markets in the 80s? Because it's easier to go in and vote straight ticket than to do a little research. So you need to be paying attention to what's happening. So, but I hope everyone's been having a great week. I'm going to hop off here, but I just want to leave you with that little note there, man. Don't be upset. You're going to see all kinds of people talk about, here's what we need to do. No, what you need to do is keep your head on straight in the situations that are coming ahead. Understand there's people out there, they're not stable in the mind. And they're going to come out and they're going to tell you, you need to do this, you need to do that. And that's going to get you locked up. It's going to have so your rights to own firearms are rejected, guys, and things like that. So use your head because you have to remain calm as the storm's moving in. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the storm of civilizations, you know, crap hit the fan, whatever you want to call it, that's coming this way. It's happening. It happened in Rome. It happened in Greece. And every time these types of agendas, especially this sexually immoral agenda, has hit nations throughout the history of the world, not just this country, throughout the history of the world, they never last long. Not the agendas, the nations that embrace them, they fall. Seen it with Greece, seen it with Rome, seen it all over the world, guys. Seen it with Sodom and Gomorrah. You need to be aware of what's happening in the world. You need to be aware. Right now is not the time to jump up and act out in violence. Now it's the time to make sure that you're prepared for what's coming. Because when that fall happens, and all society's all in chaos and all that crap, your family's going to need you, and you're going to wish you hadn't done stupid stuff so that you could have prepared properly. So everyone have a wonderful day.